The fifth set began with an electricity in the air that Catherine had rarely experienced, even at Wimbledon. Both players faced the ultimate test of their careers. Whoever won this final set would claim one of tennis's most prestigious titles, while the loser would face the heartbreak of coming so close to greatness only to fall short. She could see the weight of this knowledge in their expressions as they prepared for what everyone knew would be an unforgettable conclusion. The opening games of the deciding set showcased nerves of steel from both competitors. Neither showed any sign of the fatigue that 4 hours of elite tennis should have produced. Instead, they seemed energized by the magnitude of the moment, their shot-making becoming even more precise and powerful as the stakes reached their highest point. Catherine found herself completely absorbed in every point, understanding that she was witnessing history in the making. William leaned close during a brief pause in play, his voice barely audible above the crowd's murmur. "This is why we love coming here," he said simply. Catherine nodded, knowing exactly what he meant. Moments like these, when human excellence reached its peak under ultimate pressure, justified their passionate support of sport and their belief in its power to inspire and unite people across all boundaries. As the set progressed, Catherine noticed how both players had settled into an almost meditative focus. Gone were the nervous gestures and fidgeting that had marked earlier stages of the match. In their place was a calm intensity that spoke to years of preparation for exactly this kind of moment. Their movements became economical and purposeful, every action directed toward the single goal of winning the next point. The crowd's behavior evolved as well, becoming more sophisticated in their appreciation of the drama unfolding before them. They recognized exceptional shots with immediate appreciation but maintained respectful silence during the most crucial points, understanding intuitively when their energy could help and when it might distract. Catherine admired this collective wisdom, seeing in it the kind of sporting culture that made Wimbledon unique among major tournaments. A particularly breathtaking rally midway through the set brought everyone to their feet, including Catherine and William. Both players had produced shots that seemed impossible, turning defense into attack repeatedly until one finally found a winner that clipped the line by mere millimeters. The sustained applause that followed recognized not just the winner of the point, but both players' contributions to a moment of pure sporting artistry. During the subsequent changeover, Catherine observed the players' different approaches to managing pressure. One sat quietly, eyes closed in apparent meditation or visualization. The other moved restlessly, adjusting his strings and taking small sips of his sports drink. Both methods seemed effective, demonstrating how individual personalities could find different paths to peak performance under identical circumstances. The medical staff remained on high alert, ready to respond to any physical issues that might arise as the match extended beyond 4 hours. Catherine understood the delicate balance between allowing players to compete through discomfort and protecting them from serious injury. The tournament's medical protocols had evolved over decades to optimize this balance, ensuring that champions earned their titles through legitimate competition rather than their opponent's physical breakdown. As the set moved past the halfway point, every game became increasingly significant. The traditional advantage of serving became more pronounced as both players recognized that holding serve might be enough to claim the championship. Catherine watched their serving strategies evolve, with both men taking more risks on first serves and showing increased aggression when opportunities arose to attack their opponent's delivery. The crowd's tension became palpable as they approached the business end of the set. Catherine could feel it in the air around center court. Thousands of people collectively holding their breath as each point developed, releasing it in explosive cheers when rallies reached their spectacular conclusions. This shared emotional experience created a bond between spectators that transcended individual allegiances or backgrounds. A controversial line call created a brief moment of drama, with television replays showing that the electronic system had overruled what appeared to be an obvious call. Catherine appreciated how both players accepted the technology's decision without argument, demonstrating the professional respect for officiating that characterized modern tennis. Their sportsmanship under pressure reflected the values that made tennis special among major sports. William pointed out how both players continued to produce their best tennis despite the mounting pressure. Lesser competitors might have tightened up or become conservative, But these champions seemed to find extra reserves of courage and skill as the stakes increased. Catherine recognized this quality as the hallmark of true champions, the ability to elevate their performance when it mattered most rather than simply protecting what they had already achieved. The serving rotation meant that one player would have the advantage of serving for the championship if the set reached a certain score. Catherine watched both competitors' tactical awareness as they positioned themselves for this possibility, understanding that winning the title by holding serve would be preferable to facing the pressure of having to break their opponent when the championship was on the line. As they moved deeper into the set, individual points began taking on epic proportions. Catherine witnessed rallies that lasted more than 30 shots, with both players covering impossible distances and producing winners from positions where survival seemed unlikely. The level of tennis being displayed exceeded anything she had seen in years of attending major tournaments, confirming that some matches transcend ordinary competition to become sporting art. The crowd's appreciation became increasingly spontaneous and emotional as the quality continued to soar. Traditional Wimbledon reserve gave way to genuine excitement as spectators realized they were witnessing something extraordinary. Catherine found herself caught up in this collective enthusiasm, her usual composure replaced by the pure joy of watching human achievement at its absolute peak. A stunning drop shot followed by an even more spectacular retrieval brought the entire stadium to its feet in sustained applause. Catherine joined the standing ovation wholeheartedly, recognizing that such moments justified every hour she had invested in supporting tennis through her patronage. When sport reached these heights, it became something transcendent that spoke to the best aspects of human nature and potential. The serving advantage shifted back and forth as both players held under increasing pressure. Catherine marveled at their mental strength, watching them save break points that would have meant defeat with shot-making that bordered on miraculous. Each escape seemed to provide additional confidence and energy, creating momentum that carried over into subsequent games. As the set approached its inevitable climax, Catherine became aware that this match would be remembered as one of Wimbledon's greatest finals. Future generations would study footage of this encounter, trying to understand how two athletes could maintain such extraordinary standards under ultimate pressure. She felt privileged to witness sporting history being written point by point before her eyes. The decisive break of serve came suddenly, with one player finally capitalizing on a rare moment of uncertainty from his opponent. Catherine watched the crucial point unfold with breathless attention, seeing how months of preparation and years of dedication culminated in a single perfectly executed shot that changed everything. The crowd's explosion of approval recognized both the winner's brilliance and their appreciation for the sustained excellence both men had displayed. Serving for the championship, the eventual winner showed remarkable composure under the most intense pressure tennis could provide. Catherine observed his serving routine remain unchanged despite knowing that millions around the world were watching his every move. This consistency under pressure demonstrated the mental preparation that separated champions from talented players who achieved less than their potential suggested they should. The championship point itself was fitting for the extraordinary tennis that had preceded it. A long rally showcased both players' complete skill sets one final time before ending with a clean winner that left no doubt about the outcome. Catherine joined the thunderous standing ovation that erupted throughout center court, celebrating not just the winner, but both players' contributions to an unforgettable sporting spectacle. The traditional post-match ceremonies allowed Catherine to participate in honoring both competitors. Presenting the runner-up trophy provided an opportunity to acknowledge the exceptional tennis and sportsmanship both men had displayed throughout the championship. Her words of appreciation were heartfelt, recognizing that reaching this level required dedication and sacrifice that few could comprehend. The Champions Trophy presentation created one of those magical Wimbledon moments that would be replayed for decades. Catherine felt honored to play her part in this tradition, understanding that these ceremonies connected current champions with the rich history of all who had won this title before them. The winner's emotional response demonstrated what achieving this level of success meant to athletes who had devoted their lives to pursuing excellence. As the formal ceremonies concluded and the crowd began to disperse, Catherine and William remained in their seats for several minutes, absorbing what they had witnessed. The afternoon had exceeded their highest expectations, providing memories that would last a lifetime and reinforcing their commitment to supporting tennis at every level. They exchanged looks that communicated their shared appreciation for having been present at such a special moment. The journey back to Kensington Palace provided time for reflection on a perfect day. Catherine felt energized rather than drained by the experience, confirming that her gradual return to public duties was progressing successfully. More importantly, the afternoon had demonstrated that the activities which brought her genuine joy, like supporting tennis and celebrating human excellence, would continue to play a central role in her life going forward. As their car moved through London's evening traffic, Catherine and William discussed their favorite moments from the match. Their conversation was animated and detailed, reflecting the genuine enthusiasm they both felt for what they had witnessed. These shared experiences strengthened their bond, while providing the kind of positive energy that made their public roles meaningful rather than merely obligatory. The day had been more than just a successful return to royal duties. It had been a celebration of everything that made sport special and a reminder of why their support for tennis mattered so much. Catherine knew that future Wimbledon finals would be measured against the standards set by today's extraordinary encounter, and she felt grateful to have played her small part in honoring and supporting the excellence that made such moments possible. The opening games unfolded with the intensity that only a Wimbledon final could generate. Catherine found herself completely absorbed in the tactical battle developing before her eyes. Each player brought distinct strengths to the court, one relying on powerful baseline strokes and aggressive net play, the other showcasing defensive brilliance and court coverage that bordered on supernatural. The grass surface added its own variable, rewarding players who could adapt their games to the unique demands of lawn tennis. As the first set progressed, Catherine noticed details that casual observers might miss. The way one player's serve placement consistently targeted his opponent's backhand, the subtle tactical adjustments made between games, the mental chess match that occurred alongside the physical battle. Her years of watching elite tennis had trained her eye to appreciate these nuances, making each point a small drama unto itself. William leaned closer during a changeover, sharing quiet observations about the player's strategies. These moments of shared analysis felt natural and comfortable, reminiscent of countless evenings they had spent watching tennis together in the privacy of their home. Their genuine enthusiasm for the sport created an authentic connection that transcended their royal roles, allowing them to simply be two people who loved watching greatness unfold. The crowd's energy ebbed and flowed with each dramatic point. Wimbledon audiences were known for their knowledgeable appreciation of fine tennis, and today's gathering proved no exception. They recognized exceptional shot-making with appreciative murmurs and celebrated brilliant points regardless of which player produced them. This sporting fairness created an atmosphere where pure tennis excellence could flourish. During one particularly stunning rally that lasted more than 20 shots, Catherine found herself holding her breath. Both players demonstrated incredible athleticism, chasing down seemingly impossible shots and turning defense into attack with split-second timing. When the point finally ended with a cross-court winner that drew gasps from the crowd, she joined the spontaneous applause that erupted throughout center court. Between sets, Catherine took the opportunity to acknowledge other guests in the royal box. A former British #1 had joined them, bringing insights from his playing days that added depth to their understanding of what was unfolding on court. Catherine appreciated these perspectives, always eager to learn more about the technical and mental aspects that separated good players from champions. The conversation turned to the unique pressures of competing at Wimbledon. The former player described the sensation of walking on a center court for the first time, the way the crowd's energy could either lift a player to extraordinary heights or create paralyzing anxiety. Catherine found these insights fascinating, drawing parallels between the pressures athletes faced and her own experiences with public scrutiny and expectation. As the second set began, the tactical battle intensified. Both players had made adjustments during the break, and Catherine watched with growing excitement as new patterns emerged. One player began approaching the net more frequently, testing his opponent's passing shots under pressure. The other responded by varying his return position, sometimes standing well behind the baseline to give himself more reaction time. The afternoon sun created challenging playing conditions, with shadows beginning to creep across portions of the court. Catherine understood how these environmental factors could influence play, potentially favoring certain playing styles or causing difficulties with timing and depth perception. She watched both players carefully as they adapted to these changing conditions, impressed by their professional ability to maintain focus despite external variables. A medical timeout midway through the second set created a brief pause in the action. Catherine used the opportunity to reflect on the broader significance of this event. Wimbledon represented more than just tennis. It embodied traditions of excellence, respect, and sporting integrity that resonated far beyond the boundaries of sport. Her role as patron allowed her to support these values while promoting tennis development throughout the United Kingdom. The timeout ended, and play resumed with renewed intensity. The player who had received treatment showed no obvious effects from whatever issue had required attention, demonstrating the mental toughness that separated elite competitors from ordinary athletes. Catherine appreciated this display of determination, understanding from her own recent experiences how challenging it could be to perform at one's best when facing physical or emotional obstacles. As the second set reached its climax, the crowd's engagement reached new levels. Every point carried heightened significance, with both players aware that momentum could shift decisively based on the outcome of a few crucial games. Catherine felt her own tension building, invested in the drama despite having no particular allegiance to either competitor. The set concluded with a tiebreaker that showcased both players at their absolute best. Catherine watched in amazement as they produced shot after shot of stunning quality under maximum pressure. The level of tennis being displayed exceeded even her high expectations, confirming why Wimbledon finals held such special significance in the sporting calendar. During the break between the second and third sets, Catherine noticed increased activity in the media areas surrounding center court. Photographers adjusted their positions to capture the best possible images of what was developing into a classic encounter. Television commentators no doubt emphasized to their worldwide audiences the exceptional quality of tennis being witnessed by those fortunate enough to be present. The third set began with both players showing signs of the physical demands the match was placing upon them. Yet their commitment to excellence never wavered, each point contested with the same intensity they had shown from the opening game. Catherine found herself increasingly admiring not just their tennis skills, but their competitive character and mutual respect. William pointed out how both players continued to acknowledge good shots from their opponent, despite the enormous pressure they faced. This sporting behavior exemplified the values that made tennis special: fierce competition combined with genuine respect for one's opponent and the game itself. Catherine appreciated these moments of grace under pressure, seeing in them qualities that transcended sport. As the afternoon progressed, Catherine became aware of the global attention focused on this match. Television cameras captured every angle, broadcasting the action to tennis fans around the world who wished they could be present for this display of excellence. She felt privileged to witness such extraordinary tennis from the best seats in the house, understanding that moments like these became part of sporting legend. The tactical complexity of the match continued to evolve with each game. Both players demonstrated remarkable adaptability, adjusting their strategies based on what was working against their opponent's current tactics. Catherine marveled at their ability to analyze and respond to these chess-like developments while maintaining the physical intensity required to compete at this level. A brief rain shower threatened to interrupt play, but the retractable roof over center court eliminated any delay. Catherine watched with fascination as the roof closed smoothly, transforming the outdoor arena into an indoor venue without disrupting the match's flow. This technological marvel represented Wimbledon's commitment to preserving its traditional values while embracing innovation that enhanced the tournament experience. With the roof closed, the court's atmosphere became more intimate and intense. The sound carried differently, making the impact of ball on racket more pronounced and allowing spectators to hear the players' exertions more clearly. Catherine noticed how both competitors adjusted to these changed acoustics, demonstrating once again their professional adaptability. The fourth set produced some of the most spectacular tennis Catherine had ever witnessed at any level. Both players seemed to elevate their games in response to the other's excellence, creating a positive feedback loop that pushed them beyond normal human limits. She found herself completely absorbed in the drama, her usual composure giving way to genuine emotional investment in the unfolding spectacle. Several games featured rallies of extraordinary length and quality, with both players covering impossible court distances and producing winners from defensive positions that should have been hopeless. Catherine appreciated the physical conditioning required to maintain such intensity over extended periods, understanding that years of dedicated training enabled these moments of pure athletic artistry. The crowd's appreciation became increasingly vocal as the quality of play continued to soar. Traditional Wimbledon decorum gave way to spontaneous celebrations of exceptional shot-making, creating an atmosphere that honored both the tournament's dignified traditions and the extraordinary circumstances of this particular final. Catherine found herself joining these displays of appreciation, her genuine love of tennis overriding any concerns about royal protocol. As the fourth set moved toward its conclusion, Catherine realized she was witnessing something truly special. This match would be remembered not just for its outcome, but for the sustained excellence both players had displayed under ultimate pressure. Such performances elevated sport beyond mere entertainment, creating art that demonstrated human potential at its finest. The set's final games featured several breakpoints for both players, each opportunity creating its own dramatic subplot within the larger narrative. Catherine watched with growing excitement as momentum shifted back and forth, neither player able to gain the decisive advantage that would put them ahead. The quality of tennis under this pressure convinced her that regardless of who ultimately won, both competitors had already achieved something magnificent. When the fourth set concluded, sending the match to a deciding fifth set, Catherine joined the standing ovation that erupted throughout center court. The sustained applause recognized not just the excellent tennis, but the remarkable character both players had shown in pushing each other to these extraordinary heights. She felt proud to be associated with a tournament that could inspire such performances and grateful for the opportunity to witness sporting excellence in its purest form. The morning sun cast long shadows across the manicured lawns of the All England Lawn Tennis and Croquet Club as Catherine, Princess of Wales, stood before her bedroom mirror in Kensington Palace. The familiar weight of royal duty pressed upon her shoulders, but today carried something different, an electric anticipation that reminded her of younger days when she was simply Kate Middleton, university student and tennis enthusiast. She smoothed the fabric of her carefully chosen dress, a flowing creation in Wimbledon's traditional purple and green that honored both the tournament's heritage and her role as patron. The garment moved like water around her frame, elegant yet approachable, exactly the image she needed to project on this significant day. Through the tall windows of their private quarters, she could see William in the gardens below, his phone pressed to his ear as he conducted the final briefing with their security detail. The decision to attend today's men's singles final had not been made lightly. For months, Catherine's public appearances had been carefully managed, each engagement weighed against her health and energy levels following her recent medical treatment. The palace had been cautious, protective even, limiting her exposure to the demanding schedule that royal life typically required. But Wimbledon was different. Wimbledon was personal. As patron of the All England Club since 2016, Catherine had developed a deep connection with the tournament that went beyond mere royal obligation. Tennis had been part of her life since childhood, swinging rackets on the courts of her family's local club in Berkshire. She understood the sport's demands, respected its traditions, and genuinely loved the drama that unfolded on the grass courts each summer. More importantly, Wimbledon represented something pure in her relationship with William, a shared passion that had nothing to do with royal protocol and everything to do with their genuine love of competition and excellence. William appeared in the doorway, already dressed in his navy blazer and crisp white shirt. His presence filled the room with that familiar sense of calm strength that had first attracted her all those years ago at St. Andrews University. He moved toward her with the easy confidence of a man comfortable in his own skin, yet his eyes held the tender concern that had become more pronounced in recent months. Ready for this? He asked, his voice carrying both excitement and gentle inquiry. They had discussed this appearance extensively, weighing the benefits against the potential stress. Today's attendance would mark Catherine's return to one of her most high-profile patronage roles, a signal to both the public and the press that she was ready to gradually resume her royal duties. Catherine nodded, reaching for his hand. Their fingers intertwined naturally, a gesture that had become second nature over their years together. "I've missed this," she admitted, her voice soft but determined. "I've missed being there for the players, for the tournament, for the people who make Wimbledon special." The drive through London streets toward Wimbledon revealed the unique atmosphere that surrounded the championships. Even from within their official car, they could see the excitement building. Fans lined the route, some holding homemade signs expressing support and love for Catherine. The sight brought tears to her eyes, the genuine affection from people who had followed her journey, shared her struggles, and celebrated her strength. Their security detail had worked for weeks to ensure this day would proceed smoothly. The route had been carefully planned, timing calculated to avoid the worst of the crowds, while still allowing for the spontaneous moments that made royal visits memorable. The Metropolitan Police had coordinated with Wimbledon's own security team to create layers of protection that would be invisible to spectators, but comprehensive in their coverage. As they approached the famous gates of the All England Club, Catherine felt her pulse quicken. The familiar green and purple banners fluttered in the summer breeze, and the distinctive sound of tennis balls striking rackets carried across the grounds. This was where legends were made, where dreams came true, and where she had witnessed some of the most thrilling moments in modern tennis. The car pulled into the private entrance reserved for members of the royal family and distinguished guests. Waiting to greet them was Sally Bolton, the chief executive of the All England Club, along with several other key officials. These were people Catherine had worked with for years, individuals who had supported her through her patronage and who had expressed genuine concern during her recent health challenges. Sally stepped forward as Catherine emerged from the car, her face lighting up with obvious relief and joy. "Your Royal Highness, it's wonderful to see you," she said, her voice warm with genuine emotion. "We've missed you terribly." The greeting felt more personal than formal, reflecting the close working relationship Catherine had developed with the tournament's leadership. She had always insisted on being more than a figurehead, involving herself in discussions about the tournament's development, its community outreach programs, and its efforts to make tennis accessible to young people from all backgrounds. William watched with pride as Catherine fell into easy conversation with the tournament officials. This was where she truly shined. In these moments of genuine connection where her natural warmth and intelligence could flourish without the constraints of overly formal protocol. She asked detailed questions about the morning's matches, inquired about specific players' preparations, and showed the kind of insider knowledge that could only come from years of dedicated involvement. As they moved through the club's corridors toward the center court, Catherine was struck by the familiar sights and sounds that made Wimbledon unique. The walls displayed photographs of past champions, their faces frozen in moments of triumph and despair. The smell of fresh strawberries and cream wafted from the concession stands, mixing with the earthy scent of the grass courts that had been manicured to perfection. Staff members they passed offered genuine smiles and quiet words of support. Many had worked at Wimbledon for decades, becoming part of the tournament's extended family. Catherine made a point of acknowledging each greeting, remembering names, and asking about family members she had met in previous years. These interactions, brief though they were, demonstrated the personal touch that had made her patronage so meaningful to the organization. The atmosphere around center court was electric with anticipation. Today's final promised to be exceptional, featuring two players at the peak of their abilities competing for one of tennis's most prestigious titles. The crowd had been building since early morning, with fans traveling from around the world to witness what many predicted would be a classic encounter. In the royal box, preparations had been made with meticulous attention to detail. Catherine's seat had been positioned to provide the optimal view of the court while ensuring she could easily interact with other guests and dignitaries. The box itself represented the intersection of sport and tradition that made Wimbledon special, comfortable enough for hours of viewing yet formal enough to honor the occasion's significance. William took his place beside her, and for a moment they sat quietly, absorbing the unique energy that only center court could generate. The grass court stretched before them like a green cathedral, its lines drawn with mathematical precision, its surface promising to reveal the true character of whoever dared to compete upon it. Other guests began arriving in the royal box: former champions, celebrities, dignitaries, and tennis enthusiasts who had earned their place through contribution to the sport or simple devotion to its excellence. Catherine greeted each arrival with the practiced grace that years of royal training had instilled, yet her interactions felt natural rather than rehearsed. Among the arriving guests was Billie Jean King, the legendary American champion whose advocacy for equality in tennis had transformed the sport. Catherine had always admired King's courage and conviction, qualities that resonated particularly strongly given her own recent experiences with challenge and recovery. Their greeting was warm and extended, two women who understood the unique pressures of public life and the importance of using platform for positive change. The crowd's energy continued to build as match time approached. Vendors moved through the stands selling programs and refreshments, their calls adding to the symphony of anticipation that surrounded every Wimbledon final. In the distance, the practice courts hummed with activity as the finalists completed their final preparations. Catherine found herself thinking about the journey that had brought her to this moment. Months ago, attending such a high-profile event had seemed impossible. The road back had been gradual, marked by careful steps and measured progress. Today represented not just a return to royal duty, but a reclamation of the activities that brought her genuine joy and fulfillment. William reached for her hand again, a simple gesture that spoke volumes about their partnership and his understanding of what this day meant to her. They had weathered storms together, celebrated triumphs, and supported each other through challenges that would have broken weaker relationships. Today felt like a celebration not just of tennis excellence, but of their resilience as a couple and as individuals. The warm-up period began, and both finalists appeared on court to thunderous applause. Catherine studied each player with the analytical eye she had developed through years of watching elite tennis. She appreciated not just the power and precision of their strokes, but the mental strength required to perform at this level under such intense scrutiny. As the players went through their pre-match routines, Catherine reflected on what made Wimbledon special beyond the tennis itself. The tournament represented tradition and innovation in perfect balance, honoring its rich history while constantly evolving to meet modern demands. It celebrated individual achievement while maintaining the sport's essential values of respect and fair play. The crowd's energy reached fever pitch as the players completed their warm-up and prepared for the match to begin. Catherine felt her own excitement building, the genuine enthusiasm that had nothing to do with royal obligation and everything to do with her love of sport and competition. This was why she had fought so hard to be here today, not because duty demanded it, but because her heart called her to this place where excellence was pursued with passionate intensity. Around them, conversations gradually died down as spectators focused their attention on the court. Camera crews adjusted their equipment for optimal coverage, knowing that this match would be watched by millions around the world. The atmosphere became almost reverent, the kind of hushed anticipation that marked truly significant sporting moments. Catherine adjusted her position slightly, ensuring she would have the best possible view of what promised to be an unforgettable encounter. Beside her, William's own excitement was evident despite his typically reserved demeanor. They shared a look that communicated their mutual appreciation for being present at this moment, together, healthy, and ready to witness sporting history in the making. The umpire's voice cut through the air with the traditional announcement that would begin the match. Catherine felt her breath catch slightly, the same thrill she experienced every time she watched elite athletes prepare to push themselves beyond normal human limits in pursuit of greatness. Today's final would be more than a tennis match. It would be a celebration of human potential, competitive spirit, and the timeless appeal of sport at its finest.